A new segment of state-funded border wall is now going up in rural Zapata County. Now that's about 2 hours northwest of Edinburgh, and it's the first wall to be built in this area. County officials there fought off that federal border wall going up for years, but say they can't stop the state from building a border wall on private property. According to the Texas Facilities Commission, this portion of the wall will be 4.78 miles and will not exceed $130 million. That's all according to our partners at Border Report.
So it raises some questions. What does this say about the current state of immigration in Texas, and what kind of impact will this have at the ballot box come November for the election? Joining us now to talk a little bit more about this is Denise Gilman and James Henson. Denise is co-director of the Immigration Clinic at the UT School of Law, and Jim is director of the Texas Politics Project. Welcome to you both. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be back.
Thank you for having me.
I do want to start with you really quickly. So last Friday we found out that the number of illegal border crossings actually dropped in March. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are about how this affects the justification for the state spending money on a border wall.
Well, there has been a recent drop, but we can't expect that the trend will necessarily stay at low levels. We have seen large numbers of arrivals in recent years. There's no doubt about it. But what we can also expect is that border wall measures, other enforcement measures of this nature really won't have any impact on those flows, on those arrivals. It's been pretty well established in scientific literature now that the causes for arrivals at the border have much more to do with human rights situations in home countries rather than border enforcement measures. And the border wall specifically is particularly low in impact because it's so easy to breach or get around.
And Jim, for you, based on what we've seen in past elections, how do we really anticipate the state stance impacting the elections, and how will it affect Trump and Biden?
Well, it's already impacted the election given how prominent border security and immigration were as issues in the primaries, particularly the Republican primary. And I don't see any reason for that to change, particularly, especially in Texas, where, as our polling at the UT Texas Politics Project has shown, immigration and border security are front and center, particularly among Republicans. Almost 2/3 of Republicans told us in our last poll in February that immigration or border security were the most important problems facing the state. And they also said that those were the issues that were most on their mind going into primary elections, even for the legislature. So it's an issue, especially for Republicans, from the top to the bottom of the ballot.
And that will not go away come this election in November. But Denise, I want to mention again, this Border Report article that we talked about a few moments ago also highlighted another issue. The International Boundary and Water Commission said it was unaware of the construction that Texas was doing. However, the Texas Facilities Commission, which oversees all those state-funded wall contracts, confirmed the construction would happen on private property in Zapata County there. What does this say about the communication, or maybe the breakdown of it, between state and federal officials?
Well, that's troubling, and even with international entities, there seems to be a gap in what's getting communicated. The International Boundary Commission is really important because that's what helps to make sure that there aren't structures that are built that create flooding or diversion of the river that could affect both Mexico and the United States. And even if the wall is built on private land, it can have real impacts on those river flows that can be really damaging, and so that is concerning.
And Jim, back to voters, how do you think the state's hardline approach will affect voters nationally? I know that you all are focused on Texas. What can we expect from voters nationally?
Well, I think we see in national public opinion polling and in the dynamics we're seeing in campaigns, very similar patterns in public opinion that are very similar to what we see in Texas. It's an animating, border security in particular, but also immigration increasingly, are animating issues for Republican candidates. And as we've watched the presidential campaign unfold, for example, this is a good issue for Republicans because it also concerns some Democrats because of the increased flows over the last few years that Denise was referring to. And so, this is going to be the focal issue, or one of the focal issues, for Republican national campaigns. Democrats, of course, will try to shift the agenda in a direction that's more in their favor. But as we were just saying, this issue is not going away in the state. It's not going away nationally as far as being at the center of campaigns.
We want to talk about El Paso County at the moment, too. So county leaders there are asking the state to use their own judges and jail space to hold the migrants that are taken into custody at the border on state charges. Denise, how does this issue in El Paso County maybe speak to a bigger issue with the state's border security initiatives?
Right. Well, there are real costs to local communities of an approach at the state level that's very focused on border enforcement, on penalizing recent border crossers. It means there are additional costs in local jails and the like. I believe what El Paso specifically is referring to is the newer SB 4 that was adopted by the state legislature that for now has been paused by the courts because of real questions about the lawfulness, the constitutionality of that law. But with that law, if it does go into effect, or even just other measures that the state is taking to prosecute border crossers, there are real